All right.
All right, man. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Thank you for participating in this talk.
You got it, man. I saw and experienced conduction before I ever thought I would ever do it. You know, I was I think the first real experience I had in it was uh, I was hired by Butch Morris to be in his orchestra for a while. He was doing something at the time called New York Skyscraper,
Mhm.
and he had like a 15, 20 piece group, and he asked me to join the group on bass to play bass clarinet.
Okay.
So I had never, I mean, to be honest, at that point, I had very little experience with conduction. I mean, I was doing a lot of free jazz, but and I had heard about Butch Morris, but now I was in some serious conduction, like, and Butch's thing was you probably everybody you talk to might mention Butch in some way. I mean, and he was hardcore.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, nice cat.
Amen. Sorry.
Hey,
Yeah. Sorry for that, man.
hey,
Something happened.
we're doing double live between Brazil and New York City, man. I mean, but we back though.
Yeah.
Actually,
Sorry for that. Yeah.
I see that Graham Haynes join. Hey, Graham, what's up, man? I was just saying that I was in Butch Morris's Skyscraper at Bower Tree Poetry Club, and I recall you being the featured soloist. And I don't know if Graham is there, but we were. And what I was saying was, at Skyscraper, at some point, Butch started bringing in written music. Hey, Graham, what's up, man? Graham Haynes in the house, and so Butch started bringing in written music, and he had Tyshawn Sorey on drums, and Tyshawn was on fire, and Butch brought in this one piece that had like a train vibe,
Mhm.
and Tyshawn was really on fire, and I got in trouble because Butch wanted me to provide information for the ensemble, and for me it was time to blow. It was like it was a train vibe. Tyshawn was playing, and I was like, and I didn't provide information. I started soloing like as hard as I
Mhm.
could.
Right.
And it was in the moment. That's what I was feeling. And then afterwards, he said, man, that he wanted me to provide information to the ensemble, not start ripping. So
Mhm.
that was, you know, and I didn't even realize what I did because it was when in the moment I just sometimes I just wanted to play, man.
Mhm.
So but God bless him. That was the first time I encountered conduction was through Butch, and
Mhm.
I certainly learned a lot from him. My favorite of his techniques was somebody would play something and then everybody else had to try and follow whatever it was.
Mhm.
And I forget what he called it, but I was sitting next to a guy who was playing. I got a clarinetist named Stuart Bogey who had a contra alto clarinet, a metal one, which is already a pretty freaky instrument.
Mhm.
And Butch asked him to play, and then wanted the orchestra to follow him. Now, how do you follow? How do 15 people follow abstract improvisation on a contra alto clarinet? How does that go? So, and when it first started, Stuart was like, "Really?" And everybody was kind of like, "Really?" And then Butch told Stuart, he said it emphatically. He said, "Take him for a ride, man. Take him for a ride."
Uh-huh.
And then and so basically, he was saying to Stuart Bogey, take the band out for a spin. They got to follow you on whatever you're going to conceive on contra alto clarinet. And that was really, I mean, it was really fun too. I mean,
Mhm.
it's as serious as it was also fun because let's see what happens when all of us try to actually follow what's happening. You know, so as serious it was, there was fun moments too, you know. That was pretty fun. What was not fun is if you got busted not listening. That was not fun. And one time one time Butch did a conduction of about 15 trumpet players for the Font Festival. And so there's like 15 of us all playing trumpet. And I decided to bring a pocket trumpet, and just to be maybe different. And Butch started up a blues in F, or at least that's what we figured out. Eventually we figured out that's what it was. But with 15 guys all playing at once, I couldn't figure out the key right away. I'm kind of harmonic myself, but everybody else figured out. Everybody figured out and moved into the key center pretty quickly. But I was behind. I was off in my own zone, and it was sticking out like a sore thumb. And Butch heard something that was out of place in what we were doing, and he started scanning the group to see who it was. And I could tell by the look in his eyes that whoever, if he found out who that person was, they might get lit up. But right as he was getting close to me, boom, I switched to the tonic.
Right.
I hit the F, and all of a sudden the tension was resolved, and he couldn't see what was happening, who was doing it. So he changed direction, you know?
Okay.
So it was like, you know, it was, you know, the creation of music was still the prime directive, even though everybody's out there on a cliff at the same time. So Butch was the first one, but I also experienced conduction by Jamil Moondock, the great Jamil Moondock, great friend of mine. And the Moon is more closer to what I do. He just throws up his hands and does gestures, and you just got to figure out the vibe and whatever kind of picture he's painting. Okay. And Moon's is very like, and a lot of his stuff is very fast, and it's not super distinct, and you just gotta, it's all about trust. You just gotta go with the vibe and just go, just follow his hands and try to follow the direction as he's painting, you know. I also experienced a conduction by Sabir Mateen. Sabir has his own version and he has his own signals, his own, you know, hand languages. I'm not sure the right way it is, but you know, his own language and his own method, his own relationship with music. And I experienced it with Sabir. The one time I'll never forget is I'm in William Parker's Little Huey music orchestra. William doesn't really conduct like Butch Morris or anything like that, but he has a philosophy where my interpretation is the music leads the way, and the music will tell you what to do, you know, if you trust it. And we were doing music in tribute to the victims of the Katrina disaster. And the music kind of, at a certain point, the music got elevated and went to another place, and Williams started conducting, not like Butch Morris, but he started, you know, bringing in soloists and bringing the group together. It was kind of like, you know, in the moment, it was time for everything to go to another level spiritually, and he became the guide, you know. And I never forgot that, because since I was in it, I could feel that we were in the moment, and this was a spiritual. If you remembered something too, real quick, I'll be remiss if I also there's another person I experienced conduction with, and that's Martina Roberts. I've done a few projects with Martina. She has her own conduction style and her own language and her own version of everything it is that we're talking about. She deals with graphic scores in a very intricate way. She's created her own completely unique universe using combination of graphic scores, composition, conduction, and improvisation. and she puts it all together using a lot of improvisation in a very powerful way. So you know, she got Martina's coin projects. The last one that she did. It's just something to check out for anyone interested in this kind of stuff. Martina Roberts is really doing it big time.
Yeah, my question is about a very technical stuff that you've been talking about, signs, gestures. You said maybe some signs, some specific signs with, you know, metaphors like what you used, or also you also said about some free gestures of interpretation gestures, and then those gestures that people have to figure out what does it means. So how do you like to conduct? Do you like to conduct? Do you use mostly signs or free gestures?
Well, you know, like Walter Thompson in sound painting, they've taken the symbol thing to the extreme. Something like 300, 400 symbols. I heard last I heard, and the symbol thing is really not for me. But I don't necessarily do a totally free thing either. What it is that the 12 houses themselves, they know what I'm asking for. You know, like they've done so much of it that they know it's probably like a crazy look in my eye sometimes, but it's all about my arms and my hands, of course, and some of it's intuitive, and a lot of times I'll just say what I'm trying to do quietly so that the band can hear it, but maybe the audience might not hear it. You know, but sometimes I'll just say stuff like D minor or your lowest possible note.
Okay.
Or
you say it.
So sometimes, but oftentimes I don't have to. And a lot of times, the stuff that I'm doing is directed at. I have different ways of communicating with different people, and the thing about my version of this is it's very jazz and free jazz based. So really, my main target is the first thing I'm dealing with is the rhythm section, and then that goes right to the drums. And I almost have like I have key people in the band. There's absolutely no rehearsals, and nobody sees the music until we actually get together, unless we're going into the studio. If I'm going into the studio, then I rehearse one time just to get the melodies down and make sure everything's tight. But otherwise, no rehearsals, and almost always nobody sees the music ahead of time, unless it's unusually in a weird time signature or something. Then it's all that part is I try to keep it as loose as possible.
Okay, that's nice. And the next question is, what do you think about the difference from improvisation and written music?
Well, you know, I like to walk in the space between the two. If you're gonna do, I mean, so when Thelonious Monk did Crepuscule with Nelly, right? That's all written, but he had to improvise a long time to figure that melody out. You know, I mean, I'm really into both, so I try to combine the two. You know, I've done a lot of completely free improv in smaller settings. I've done a whole bunch of free improv with brother Ross Moshe. I mean, hundreds of concerts over the years with Ross Moshe of free improv, and but I'm also really into the composing side. So I'm. It's not so much that I see their differences as I'm trying to put a bridge between the two, and really merge the two so they can both be themselves and bring the best out of both by putting the two together. If that makes any sense.
So one last question here for us to finish this session is, at that specific time that Graham featured as a soloist, how did it work?
With Butch Morris, I mean, it worked really well from my perspective. I mean, as I recall, I mean, we should get Graham's take on that.
Okay.
As I recall, Graham was given a whole lot of freedom, and it was basically like, you got it, you know.
He
And
completed
then
the question here. The soloist
oh,
was completely free, the conduction of, or he was activated by some sign of feature.
right. So it says here, Graham was saying that piece was a tribute. That was a tribute to Butch's brother, Wilbur Morris, who had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you know, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
I
sure.
saw Butch do a conduction of stand-up bass players. There must have been about 20 of them, and it started on the street. There was about 20 plus stand-up bass players, and Butch was conducting all of them. I mean, you know, Butch would do like turntables. He did something with poets. You know, I mean, he was a genius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Here
Yeah.
is the. Uh,
In fact, you know, Graham and I both did this thing at Graham and I have both done stuff at New Blue. There's a huge poster of Butch on the wall at New Blue. So if you're playing at New Blue, there's a giant picture of Butch straight up looking at you. Oh yeah, the New Blue Orchestra. Yeah, so New Blue that was like his home base, and I got to play there quite a lot. Graham's played there a zillion times. There's a huge picture of Butch on the wall, and New Blue Orchestra. Yep.
Oh, okay, man. So Matt, thank you so much for participating in this. I'm very sorry for these technical problems we did have, but I'm sure your content, all the things you've shared were very awesome. And thank you very much. Thank you so much for participating on that.
I'll see you on the next one, man. I'll be looking forward to the rest. Thanks for anybody that stopped by. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. And you stay safe and have a good one.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. Peace out.
Peace. Thank you.